So I got another spirit message for you. I wrote it down before, and I'll just read it to you now. So I apologize if I stop speaking the scroll on my screen a bit. Anyway. So it started with this image of like you looking out the window at the moon. And it's like you know that change is on the horizon, and it's already been happening, but it's like you're just at the start, and you know there's more to come, like you're right at the start of that cycle still. And it's like there's this sadness and heaviness, you know, from the recent past. And that's something that you know that you have to let go of. A cycle ended recently that gripped you for a long time, and it had some good and some bad. But it's like, it's almost funny to look back now on what was your standard for so long, and now to realize its impermanence. That, you know, everything that you thought made up your daily life wasn't so crucial after all. It's like something can take up so much time and space, but at the end of the day, it was really just a blip in your life. It's a phase like the moon goes through, always shifting and changing. And it really is like you can look back on a period of your life sometimes, and it's like you just have to laugh to see that what once seemed like everything, like normal, necessary, like it was a given, was actually not necessary at all to your life. It was just one step, something to go through, but then you come out the other side and it seems so light and so temporary, and you know that it doesn't have to weigh on you anymore because now it's been fully phased out. You know, like the moon has made its full cycle, and now everything starts again clean. And like there's still memory of past stages, but they seem more distant, very ephemeral, not quite reality. You know, suddenly it's so small, it's like all of it can just fit into a little space in your mind's eye. And it is small, it's just a little piece. But you know, you're so big, you're so much. You contain multitudes, as Walt Whitman would say. You're so much more interesting and more complex than any one thing that happened to you. So, you know, you have to never shrink yourself down to the size of any one event, any one person, any one life experience that once affected you. Because it's just like a drop in your ocean. Especially when it comes to confining situations or, you know, demanding, controlling, manipulative people. You know, their memory doesn't own the whole of you, and you can't let their memory or their voice inside your head control you or let you feel that you're not good enough. They're not important. They're just like the memory of a tiny little voice that lives in your head, and you're so much bigger than that and more powerful. And when you cease to be defined by fears from the past, when memory no longer has a hold on you and you feel in control of it, instead of the other way around, your energy grows so much bigger. And then you transcend past beliefs about yourself. And the solar plexus chakra grows so much in power when that happens. And then I see, like, you're looking at the moon again. And when you see the moon, just know that everything's going to be okay. Remember that you also move in phases, that everything has its time and its season, and then it's gone and something new settles in. And that should be exciting and something to look forward to, and also something that you participate in every day. And becoming a new person, working on yourself, taking part in little daily changes that work towards something greater. This change is always incremental. Nothing happens all at once, even if the idea of it kind of catches you by surprise or seems to hit you all at once. It's been a slow build. You've been changing, the situation has been unfolding the whole time, but it can take a while before you consciously meet it there. But it's a wonderful thing to have the chance to grow and change all the time. That's a privilege that we have that shouldn't be taken for granted. We should never try to keep ourselves stuck in one position, in one situation forever. Especially when we know we're fighting against the grain. Whenever we find ourselves forcing something to stay put, whenever maintaining status quo seems to cause a strain and effort, or just pushing against the natural flow of change that wants to take over. But you have to let it wash over, or else you're always going to be, miserable and forcing your existence. And that isn't sustainable and can't be maintained forever, no matter how hard you try. Because eventually change happens, whether you want it to or not. It's a force of nature. Nothing can truly stop it when it's time. So, we shouldn't mourn for things that have passed, because whatever left our life left for a reason. And with time and distance, we can often see just how much it was actually impeding our lives, and how much progress maintaining it would have blocked. There are some things that last forever, but even within that, there's still room for growth and development. Not even something that lasts in our life stays exactly the same that whole time. It still moves and flows and takes on new forms. And every person as an individual is just like that, more liquid than solid. We take on so many new shapes and forms, and we're in a constant state of flux, bending, distorting, reforming. There's no one shape of the self, but we're always the self. And we discover new versions of ourselves, but we're always the same person. And that's because the soul is eternal, and it holds its form, but everything else is susceptible to change, to decay, to rebirth. We become new figurative people all the time, and we become new physical people through our lifetimes, but the soul always remains whole and without physical change. We grow around it, and we reform into the shape of our soul desires. And in that way, the outside always reflects the inside. We just take the shape of whatever our soul is calling for. And when it wants change, then change happens. And if it wants significant change, then maybe everything is going to have to go in order to create something new and more true to the current wish of the soul. And right now, if you feel stronger and more sure of yourself, more confident, more independent, than you did before that big change occurred, just know that all that positive stuff came from within you. More confident, more capable, in better shape. Whatever it is, that all came from the powerful energy inside of you that already existed. And it was time for the outside to match the inside. You pull yourself out of darkness. You motivate yourself. You bring all good things toward you. You are that strength. It's just that maybe you've only recently allowed yourself to fully access it. But it all comes from you. And there's more good stuff in there that hasn't taken physical shape in your life yet. You just have to wait for the timing to be right, before you're able to manifest it into our physical reality. Everything waits until the right moment, until we're ready. And you'll get there. There's always going to be more. There's always more good and there's always more bad in life, but when something bad does seem to happen, it's sent to try us and to prompt us to rise to the occasion. It just means we weren't accessing the good stuff ourselves, so we needed this push to incentivize us to bring it out and start using it. And in that way, all the challenges we're met with make us more complete. Anyway, that's what I've written down. I'm sure there's a reason that message comes through for you now. Hopefully it resonates in some way, makes sense to what you're going through, what you have gone through, gives you an idea of where you're going. Something to keep in mind.